All right, I have to make a very important video. I have been tricked more than I have been comfortable with, despite my best efforts not to be tricked. 2 days ago, I received an email at my Gmail, and it looked like a bona fide PayPal email. It was from PayPal.com. And it claimed that I was about to have $600 withdrawn from my PayPal account that could be fraudulent. And a number was given me to call to they wanted to talk to me to whether this was a legitimate withdrawal from my PayPal. It was $600, and I knew that I hadn't done it. So I sent a Skype to Brent Spiner and asked him what I should do about it. Brent said to call PayPal and just ask them if it's true that you're about to have $600 deducted from your account. Now, at the time that I consulted with Brent, Satan knows that I trust Brent implicitly, and he took full advantage of this. And so what I had done was assuming, it's really funny because normally I would know better than this, but I assumed that because the email was from PayPal.com, they had me download a PDF file that had a number to PayPal, and for some odd reason, it didn't occur to me to not call that number. So I called this number believing I was calling PayPal and that I was obeying my husband, who I trust implicitly. And I was getting the runaround for 2 hours as the scam artist, who was a Jesuit, an Indian guy, we found out later, was attempting to get, he got my social security number. He managed to get the number to my debit card, including the expiration date and that little 3-digit code, I mean, and you would think that my suspicious antennas would have gone up, and I would have realized that I was getting scammed big time. But because I trusted Brent so implicitly, and Brent said to call PayPal, that's what I thought I had done. So for 2 hours, I actually gave him team viewer access to my website and my phone, and he managed to get to take $500 out of my bank account. I look back over that and think, I am not a dumb person. I have an IQ of 9,999. And Brent, why? You might say, when did you start figuring out you were being scammed? Well, when I went and checked my bank account. He said he was going to try to reimburse me the $600. When I went and checked my bank, and I said, well, it hasn't been deducted from my PayPal yet. And he said, well, it's about to be deducted. It's on hold. And I just need to investigate to make sure that you get your money reimbursed. And while he was claiming to be investigating and making sure that I got my money reimbursed, he got all my bank information, my social security number. He tried to get a scan of my driver's license, but my camera wasn't working. That might have been Jesus protecting me. I don't know. And I couldn't take a picture of it, thank God. And what I'm going to do is I recorded the whole thing, and I will have a video of the recording, or maybe an audio of the recording at my website. I think it'll be an audio at my website, but I don't have time to do that today. But I think I figured out what's going on, folks. Now, so I had to call my bank, let them know that I'd been scammed, and I had to file an affidavit to let them know that that $500 was illegally withdrawn from my account because I was scammed by somebody who claimed to represent PayPal. Then fortunately, I got an email from the bank where the $500 was withdrawn from. What the scammer did is he set up another checking account with Sophie, okay, the Sophie Bank, and I got an email from them, and I was able to get into the website for Sophie. I changed the password so I could get in there, and I noticed my 500 was still there. So I changed the password to lock out the scammer, and then I contacted their security department and let them know that I'd been scanned and fraudulent, and that the bank account was set up fraudulently, and that I wanted to cancel the bank account, and that I wanted that money all returned. And they said, well, have you filed a report with your bank? And I said, yes, I just did. They said, we got to wait for normal procedures to happen. And already I'm seeing that it has been refunded to my bank account. So fortunately, we acted quick. But what's amazing is that it took me 2 hours, almost 3 hours, to figure out that I was being scammed. If my mind was not being messed with, I think I would have not even responded to the email. And I certainly would have known better than to call the number on the email thinking it was PayPal. Fortunately, I got super stressed out 2 days ago just fixing all this. I had to neglect the Gail commandments. Because it was number one priority to move fast before the scammer got all my money. Because he had all my information. He had my debit card number. We found out that he was going to try to move through the Sophie Bank and transfer the funds into a crypto account. So, fortunately, because I saw an email from Zach where he said, do not respond to this email. This is a scam. And when I saw that, all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, and I called the number on the email thinking it was PayPal. It looked like a legitimate PayPal from PayPal. It had paypal.com on it. Okay, so that was one instance where I was tricked. The other instance where I was tricked was when I got the notice on my apartment door, supposedly from the CDC, and Satan used brain control on me to cause me to get paranoid about that and make the very bad decision to go to war on what I thought were COVID shot supporters. And we all know what happened with that. 72 million people got killed because of my mistake. So I'm thinking, I'm making far more mistakes than I am comfortable with. I said, what is going on here? And the other thing that I'm wondering about is how come when I gave the order, because I said try to spare innocence if you can, that in spite of me telling them to try to spare innocence, that it wasn't until after they killed 72 million people that they figured out that everybody they were killing was innocent. I think we're all victims of massive satanic brain control. So, as a result of being tricked far more than I am comfortable with, I made the decision yesterday that I am now going to be practicing meditation every day. First thing in the morning, after I do my morning walk, then I will come in and do meditation before I make any major decisions on how I'm going to do my day. Let me tell you what happened this morning. This morning, and this was right as I was about to start my meditation, I got an email from Judge Terrence Jenkins, Harvard Law School graduate. He said, I just heard you got defrauded by a PayPal scam artist, and I just got an email, supposedly from PayPal, that said that I withdrew, I think it was like $600 to buy coffee. Terrence loves to buy coffee. And he said, how do you advise I respond to this? My answer was, wait, do nothing. Don't click on any links in the email, and don't call any numbers in the email. And I suggest you go and meditate, and that you channel loving, peaceful feelings to all those you care about while you're meditating. Try not to worry about what you got in the email, and just meditate. And I said, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So I got my chamomile tea, and I meditated, and I tried not even to think about the email. I tried just to, the purpose for meditation is to clear your mind of satanic influence or demonic influence. So I focused on being present, on being thankful, and just paying attention to all the movement outside. See, I have a big window at my apartment. I always open the windows, turn off the AC, or whatever, in the winter it might be the heat, and just focus on the noises and just being present, that I hear from the outside. And till I get into like a peaceful, non-worried, stress-free state. It can be difficult. And and then I gently sip my tea, and I have my little Buddha bell that I ring. And basically it's to clear your mind of satanic or Baphomet influence into your mind. After doing that for about 20 to 25 minutes, I felt at peace and that my mind was cleared. And I advised Terence, I said, my advice to you on the email is, first of all, check the source and make sure it's a legitimate PayPal email. So I went and looked at the email. I noticed it came from a Gmail source. It did not come from PayPal. Now I'm wondering why Terence, Harvard Law School graduate, didn't even notice that it came from a Gmail source. You see what they're doing? They're manipulating us into committing actions that will help them out. Harvard Law School graduate, and he's been a judge, and he didn't even notice or bother to check the source of the email. This explains why I and my men have been making so many horrible decisions lately. I am committed. I've always been a devoted Christian. And my entire Christian life, up until the time when Baphomet put a spell on all the pages of my Bible, I used to be a regular Bible reader. In fact, for most of my Christian life, I read it every day religiously. And I used to consider that if I didn't read the Bible for that day, that I wasn't ready for the day. Well, now I've taken a new approach because the Bible has been canceled, and Baphomet is perfectly capable of putting spells on Bibles again. My new approach is that when I haven't had my meditation for the day, then my day is not ready to be started. So before I have breakfast, though I will allow myself to do a morning walk simply to beat the heat, but the first thing in the morning, as soon as I can, I do my meditation. You want to focus on being thankful. And I have some links at my website that you can explore to help you to get into the proper meditation mode. There is a guy at my website. When you go up at the website, up in the corner where it says Gabriel Chana Fox News, click on that and there will be a menu that will pull down. And in the menu, you might want to check out some of the, go down where it says Buddhist teachings. Dallas Theological Seminary is right underneath that. And you will see Jack Kornfield. Jack Kornfield, he seems really good. I have been following. Yesterday I did a guided meditation with him on how to think loving kindness thoughts while you meditate. It was very helpful. So you may want to, or you don't necessarily have to go through my website. He has a YouTube channel, Jack Kornfield. He is a Buddhist master, and he teaches you how to have meditation. So I did meditation twice yesterday, in the morning, and because of what I had been through with the
with the scammer, I decided to do it again, kind of like giving myself extra medicine. And I felt like it really helped clear my mind. For instance, like when I go out on my walks, Satan is trying to get me to worry or obsess about things. The advantage of doing meditation is that it helps you to release that worry and that fear and that obsession, and to stay calm so that you can make sound decisions. So I would recommend that. I believe that if Jesus could speak to us, he would encourage us all to meditate every day as well as doing his Gail commandments. Why else did he appoint Buddha as his God representative on earth? In fact, Buddha saved Jesus Christ's life. And then I'll explain another reason why it's important to meditate, other than trying to preserve the integrity of your mind. I can tell that the battle right now going on in the universe is between the good forces and the evil forces. The deities behind the good forces are God the Father and Jesus. Those are the supreme deities behind the good forces. The leader behind the evil forces is Satan. I got that from Buddha, so I know that is correct. So you might say, how did the evil forces come about? I'm not sure about this, but it appears it is based on some sort of a disagreement between Jesus and Satan. I'm not sure, though. It might have happened before that, but there is a disagreement between Jesus and Satan. And I am pretty sure that I'm right about this, though. God the Father is the one who created and runs the universe. He's doing that now with his son Jesus. Jesus just recently attained full supreme deity status. Up until the time that he did, Buddha, even though he is a lesser god than Jesus at present, was, in my opinion, wiser than Jesus as a deity. Which means that right now, if it wasn't for Buddha, Satan would be running the earth. He would have won. He almost killed Jesus. I can give the credit to my husband Brent, because Brent risked his own life putting on the Gail suit to save Satan from beating up Jesus to death. Satan almost killed Jesus, where Jesus would have gone down to 2 dimensions or less, and then that would be his permanent death. He almost did it. If my husband Brent didn't heroically don the Gail suit to save his life. But even then, as Jesus lay in a coma, Brent and I, we didn't know what to do, because we are not deity doctors. We could tell that he was in a coma, and it seemed like everything that I was trying to do was going wrong, and he was getting worse. And fortunately, about a week after he was in a coma, Buddha and the other deities, friends of Jesus, showed up and gave us more insight in how to help Jesus. And Buddha said, I can fix him. I just need to build up his chakras. But even then, Baphomet continually tricked me. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is to let you know that what we are dealing with are 2 sets of forces in the universe. We've got a set of good forces and a set of evil forces. And the reason Satan has not surrendered to God the Father yet is that there is an argument, I believe, going on between Satan and Jesus before God the Father. And the argument goes something like this. Satan is apparently blaming Jesus for the fact that he rebelled against God the Father. I do believe that is correct. And he's saying
God the Father, you created us with free will. And Jesus and I were experimenting with the free will that you gave us, and we both enjoyed being evil. Yeah, that's what I think Satan is saying. And now, Jesus is not owning up to the fact that he's just like me. And he has rejected me as his gay lover. And I had the right to be angry because I felt like I was led on. You know, that's what I think is going on. So Satan turned evil because he was enjoying it. Apparently, he was bored in heaven. Unfortunately, he got a third of the angels to side with him. And God the Father had to kick them out of heaven. I think the reason he was able to get a third of the angels to side with him is because he was able to convince these angels that he was justified in his anger against Jesus. I think Satan feels that Jesus is a hypocrite, and therefore he's indirectly saying, God the Father, if you side with Jesus, then you are a hypocrite too. You might say, so yes, basically Satan unleashed. You see, when God the Father created his creation, he gave them free will. Unfortunately, as part of giving his creation free will, they can choose between good and evil. Before the rebellion happened, I think things were it was like paradise up in heaven. And I believe God the Father allowed them a lot of freedom. And unfortunately, they took advantage of that, and some of them were enjoying some of the lust. And I think maybe Jesus was enjoying it too. However, I don't believe in Jesus' case he was being evil. You see, true evil is not just judged simply by our actions. It's by the heart or the motives behind the actions. And the difference between Jesus and Satan is that Jesus' motives for everything he did was love, whereas Satan's motives for what he did was jealousy and pettiness. But Satan still believes, I think, that Jesus' motives are not as pure as Jesus claims. So his argument before God the Father is, God the Father, you are not a righteous God if you annihilate me for choosing evil when your own son is guilty of the same. I think Jesus was winning the argument until recently when he chose to have sex with me. Because unfortunately, he made the wrong choice to take my husband Brent's root chakra. So now Satan could go before God the Father and said, see, I told you, your son is just as evil as I am. Therefore, I am allowed to take over earth and expand my universe and have my own following. Because look how many, even the humans that Jesus created to follow him. You say, why did Jesus create the human race? Jesus told us it was for companionship. He wanted to have companionship that would be companionship that he would really enjoy. Some people that had his heart. That's why we were created in God's image. Satan found that very offensive because he feels like he should be Jesus' number one companion. That he and Jesus are kindred spirits. One thing that Satan and Jesus have in common is they both believe in free love, which is what Buddha is, by the way. Buddha is the God of free love. The difference, though, and Jesus is the God of true love. The difference between Jesus and Satan, though, is that Satan does not, he doesn't believe in true love. He is the God of evil. That might be the best way to describe him. He's not really a god, he's a fallen angel, but he's the leader of the forces that stand for evil. You might say, how could he go against paradise? He had such a good time there in heaven. Buddha says that Satan is petty. He has a grudge against Jesus. But I think what's going on with Satan is that he cannot forgive Jesus for the fact that he got kicked out. In other words, he's not taking responsibility for his own behavior and his own evil. He's blaming it on Jesus. So you might say, why won't God the Father annihilate Satan then? Because unfortunately, some of Satan's argument is correct. And let me tell you why. When Jesus decided to move into my apartment and have sex with me, he was in a flawed mode. First of all, he is an asexual supreme deity. Okay, so he wasn't in love with me when he had sex with me. He was in a flawed mode. His motive, I believe, for doing it was to try to be cool with the humans so he could increase his following. And then I guess after that, he was going to have the rapture and then go into the millennial reign. As a Christian, I never believed that Jesus would have actual sex with his church bride. I always thought it would be platonic or 11-dimensional, something like that. So I was actually quite shocked that he decided to have sex with me. It was a very poor decision on his part. He realizes that now. That's why he's way up there now and not here. He did it because he was so worried about his human race child. And he was so upset that Adam and Eve fell and that he was losing so many of them to Satan. And he thought if he was cool with his children, he could get more of a following and win his argument before God the Father and cause Satan to be locked up. You see, if the Bible had not been canceled, the plan was that there would be a rapture, Jesus would come back at the second coming, and there would be a final battle, and Satan would be defeated there and locked up into the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. During Christ's 1,000-year reign, that has all been canceled because Jesus messed it up by having sex with me. You say, why did he choose you? I'm his favorite of all the humans in all the multiverses. He has readily admitted that. And I guess since he's an asexual being and he doesn't really want to have sex, he felt like he could tolerate it with somebody like me. The only problem is he knew in order to do this, he would have to get my husband Brent out of the way. So he removed his root chakra. And Buddha said that by removing my husband's root chakra, that it was harming Brent's health. Not only that, I didn't like what Brent turned into when his root chakra was removed. Because one time I asked Brent, I said, Brent, if I said it was okay, because I was talking with Zach Knight about this, I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, I was kind of reluctant to bring this up to you, Gail, but when Jesus said that Brent no longer had a problem with jealousy with you, he said, that seems kind of strange to me because your husband is so monogamous. And he said, let's test this out and see what the effect is on him. Ask him this question. Ask him some questions about how he feels to check whether this is the same Brent that you fell in love with. So finally I said, Brent, how would you feel if I made love to Satan? I decided to ask. He said, oh, that'd be cool with me. He said, if it's what you really wanted to do. I said, what? You wouldn't have a problem with me making love to Satan? I said, what's wrong with you? You're not the Brent that I fell in love with. It's like you're violating everything that I fell in love with. I said, you said even Satan in his current evil state, you wouldn't have a problem with me going to him as a lover? He said, no, whatever you want, Gail, is cool with me. I said, Zach, we got a problem here. And Zach said, it sounds to me like Jesus may have crossed the line here with something he did with Brent. And we found out that Jesus removed Brent's root chakra. My guess is that Satan knew this.
Satan went to Father God and said, hey, Father God, and you say, why is it that I got kicked out and your son didn't? And guess what happened? Jesus got kicked out. Satan was winning his argument. You might say, well, what would have happened if we didn't save Jesus' life? Satan would be running this planet. That's what would have happened. And evil would be running planet Earth. Thank God for Buddha. Thank God for my husband, Brent. Even if his root chakra was messed up, he's always been loyal to me. You might say, what was Jesus thinking? I'm not sure what Jesus was thinking. But he knew he had to get Brent out of the way in order to go to bed with me. And his motive for going to bed with me apparently was to be cool with his followers, because he was just so worried about his human race child. You see, Jesus stands for free love too, just like Buddha does. The problem is, in trying to stand for this, he went a little too far. He became flawed, and he made some bad choices. And Satan was winning his argument. And as a result of those bad choices, Jesus became weaker and Satan became stronger. And Satan became strong enough that he almost killed Jesus. So you might say, what is your point? My point is, the way we're going to win this war with Satan is we need to feed the good forces in the universe so that we can weaken the evil forces. One of the best ways to do that is through Buddhist meditation. That's how Buddha saved Jesus' life. He meditated and built up Jesus' chakras. And Jesus got up to his 11 dimensions right as the final battle between me and Buddha and the gods with Satan and his god friends was happening. And Jesus was able to go in there and save us from Satan's forces. You might say, so, what's going to happen to the future? I don't know. But the name of the game, or the nature of the game, has changed. We got to quit thinking traditional Christianity to win this war. The way to win this war is we all must become Buddhist Christians. The name of the game has changed. First of all, you need to understand what Satan's motives are. He's trying to win an argument before Father God. His argument is this: Jesus is just as evil as I am, and I can prove it because his favorite, Gail Schuler, and her men are just as evil as I am. And I'm going to prove it because I'm going to be able to manipulate them into doing the same things that I would be doing if I was in their shoes. So he's being really tricky right now. He understands each of us down to our core. What we care about, what we would die over. And he's manipulating our emotions to do his bidding, to win his argument before God the Father. You see, Jesus created the human race to have free love companions that stood for true love. So Jesus wants a combination of free love and true love. That's why Adam and Eve were naked in the garden, because Jesus believes in free love. He's not anti-gay, and he's not against nudity, actually. In fact, he cried when he handed Adam and Eve their clothes. The problem is, Satan is jealous of us because he sees us as substitutes for what he feels is his right, to be Jesus' gay lover. And Satan believes that underneath it all, that Jesus is just as evil as he is. And that the only reason that he got kicked out and Jesus didn't get kicked out is because Jesus is God's son, and undue favoritism has been shown to Jesus.
And he's trying to strengthen the evil forces in the universe to bolster his argument before Father God. Now, if you enjoy being evil, and if you enjoy lust and illness and murder and lying and worry and cancer and illness, this has all come about because of the evil forces in the universe. If you enjoy this, then go side with Satan and feed the evil forces. But if you want a universe filled with love, peace, joy, sublimity, true love, free love, and happiness, joy, deep inner joy with peace, then side with Jesus and me and my men. You might say, well, how do we not help out the evil forces? And that's what I'm going to tell you. First of all, we're all going to have to be careful with our emotions. And I have concluded, as a result of having just been tricked by Satan himself, that the current Jesuit order is run completely by Satan. I think all of the Jesuits report to Satan directly. So we are dealing with him head on, okay? Which means we are not going to win this war using the methods we have used in the past. After Satan concluded that Jesus had sinned by taking Brent's root chakra and by committing adultery with me, Satan apparently now has he feels that since the non-interference agreement was violated, that he's right to use his full powers against us. Okay? So he is directly interfering with us. We are dealing with Satan head on. The non-interference agreement is off. What this means is that we're going to have to use the same methods we used to save Jesus' life to win this war. Meditation. I think every Christian out there, if you love Jesus, this is what I think Jesus is doing right now. Jesus no longer will be dealing with us directly. He's up there somewhere in the multiverses, far away, managing a whole bunch of multiverses. He's on par with his Father God. I think he spends time every day in meditation, drinking his tea at his own tea house in his own home. He moved out of his dad's house. He lives in his own home. He is our supreme example. So Jesus, I believe, is spending every day in meditation. He probably starts his day off in meditation, sips his tea, calms his mind. Now, if he had done this all along, he would have realized that his decision to have sex with humans was flawed and would get him in a lot of trouble. So up until the time when before Jesus became a supreme deity, he was a lesser god until very recently. Buddha was wiser than Jesus. It would do us well to all become Buddhist Christians, because that's what Jesus is right now. Okay, this is a battle for the mind. A battle for the mind. All of you, before you start your day, spend time in meditation. Buddhist style meditation. Start off with relax all of the muscles in your body. Clear your mind of worry. Focus on thankfulness. Focus on being present. If you can, go outside and sit in a park or go to a tea house. And I've established tea houses all over the earth. Just don't worry. Get into a meditative mode. Listen to that guy at my website, the Jack guy. Before you make major decisions for the day, meditate. Because you see, Satan and Baphomet are dealing with us head on right now. And they're trying to get us to buy, they're planting thoughts and emotions into us. And these are negative forces. Buddha said that when you feed things like worry, anger, even righteous anger, if it comes from a satanic source, you're feeding it. Anytime we feed those emotions within us, we strengthen Satan. So we need to stay calm, balanced, meditate every day. So Christians, in place of your daily Bible reading, since the Bible has been canceled, do Buddhist meditation. Okay? The Bible has been canceled. You could read the Bible now, and Satan or Baphomet could put ideas in your head. So you need to be careful. Everybody needs to spend time in meditation every day. The next highest priority, the Gail commandments. Okay? Those two, every day. If you're doing something in your life that's taking you away from doing those two, maybe you need to delegate responsibilities to other people. Maybe you need to just set lesser goals for other things and don't be in such a hurry. Those two things, Gail commandments, meditation, that needs to be number one in everyone's life. Do not make any major decisions without meditating first. Make sure you are in meditation mode. Now, I realize emergencies come up, and if that's the case, you'll have to act on it. But as soon as possible, go meditate. Because if not, you could be running with something that came directly from Satan himself. We are being attacked head on. The whole human race is being attacked head on. He's targeting me because I'm probably the most important human leader on Jesus' side right now. So if Satan figures if he can defeat me, then he takes over Earth, and then he plans on expanding his evil forces. You might say, why is Satan not giving up? Why won't he stand for true love? I think he is so angry at Jesus. He's just so bitter that he got kicked out, and he thinks it's Jesus' fault. He just won't forgive Jesus. That's what's going on with him. You don't want to, whenever bitterness, the main emotions you want to be feeling is forgiveness, love, generosity, compassion, peace. Whenever worry starts taking you over, covetousness, lust, you are helping out Satan. The way to be on Jesus' team is to feed the good emotions, peace, love, joy, kind of like the fruits of the Spirit, long-suffering in Galatians. So, I will be posting a video recording, because I did make a recording of the guy who scammed me, but I want you to be aware that it's very upsetting to listen to. And when we get too upset, we actually help out Satan. So listen to it, but try to view it positively, that we can learn valuable lessons from this. And don't let it stress you out. The valuable lesson is we all need to meditate every day before we make any major decisions. Because it will clear your mind of satanic interference so that you'll be able to think more soundly. If I had been doing this, it's very possible I never would have declared war on what I thought was Jesuit COVID promoters. And I never would have called that number on the email, worried that I might be getting $600 withdrawn from my PayPal account. So everybody, we all must become Buddhist Christians. Yeah, I would suggest that all the Christian theological seminaries out there, if you're on Jesus' side, Jesus is a Buddhist Christian right now. You say, what is Jesus planning? I don't know. You got to realize the prophecies have been canceled. Live in the present. Be thankful. Don't worry. Meditate every day. Do not make any major decisions without meditating first. That is our best course of action for now. We've already suffered a lot of damage by not meditating. We all need to become Buddhist Christians. And Jesus did set up Buddha as his God representative on earth, along with my husband Brent, who was working with Buddha to save Jesus' life. The Buddha is a very wise deity. It would bode us well to follow him. Especially, he's really big into meditation. So the part of Buddhism that we need to follow is meditation. Every day. I've set up tea houses all over the earth. So this is what everyone needs to do. This is the way forward so that righteousness, love, and the good forces in the universe can overcome the evil, and so that Satan will lose his argument before God the Father.